Welcome back to week 6 of the Maroon Momentum on a victorious Thursday following a Colonel victory this past weekend and celebrating a 20-point blowout win. Enjoying the bye week as well. The bye week goes for everybody, for players and for fans, as I'm learning. It's a good week to catch up on chores, good week to go through your bills, good week if you want to review your insurance. This show is proudly presented by John Clark State Farm in Richmond, Kentucky. I said it many times. You can always count on Clark, and that really is true. John's a great guy. Go visit him, go see him, go hear him out because he's an incredible guy, and I would trust him with a lot of things beyond just my insurance. So go ahead and check him out. So as we get rolling in today's show, my first guest, I'm going to bring him on. It's going to be a short show today. I just go player guests back to back, and it's going to be a good time. So we actually have the reigning UAC Defensive Player of the Week coming on the show after a great game, a pick six, 8 tackles, true sophomore. Here I'm joined by Kaden Smith.
What's up, Duff? How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Man, so congratulations, first of all, on a huge win and a huge accomplishment. That's
Yes, sir. Appreciate it a lot.
Your first one, Defensive Player of the Week?
First one.
That's awesome. That's really cool. You're a true sophomore already getting this recognition for the conference, and you played in every game as a freshman. Talk to me kind of first just about when you got to EKU, stepping right on the field. What kind of gave you what kind of tools did you have coming in to where you already were on the field, and how has that growth gone to now?
Really, when I first got here last year, I really didn't have any expectations of getting on the field immediately. In my mind, I was going to develop and just wait for my name to be called. Really, just waiting for my opportunity, and really that's how it played out. Last year we had a bunch of injuries and everything, so that kind of made me have to grow up really fast and step into a bigger role. Where the team really needs me. So, and then leading into this year, coming from that role last year, I knew with Maddox leaving, I knew I had to step up in a bigger role, kind of produce more what he was doing last year and kind of leave off where he left off. So for sure. And then going through the summer and fall camp all with the guys, that gave me a real big chance, with really developing the chemistry with my guys and everything, and they instilled the confidence in me. So that was a big help too. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that it's a huge culture shock stepping on campus as a freshman. You come from a place where you are the big dog, you know what I mean? And you killed it in high school and everything. And then you step on campus and there's a lot of guys who killed it in high school, right? So what was that feeling when your number was called against Mississippi State in week 1?
That being my, first collegiate game, SEC game, I was really excited for that moment. I wasn't really scared. But, the nerves were for sure there. True freshman stepping on that field. But really, at the end of the day, I just had to go out there. There's a lot on what we've been practicing and practicing this. At the end of the day, I just can't let my teammates down. But really, that was an exciting moment for my first collegiate game.
Absolutely. And like I said, you proved to everybody that you belonged. And there's very few freshmen that do belong at that age. I mean, there's just a lot of maturity that goes on with being in college. And you were not the only one. You had Marcus Cowwise as well, who went in there and showed out. And now this year, I wrote it down here. You have Quaid, Devin, TJ, Kyle Cowwise, Brady Hensley, Davion, Galva, Fred, and I may be missing some other people, Eberhard. You've had a lot of sophomores play this year. A lot of guys play in their second year, which is still pretty young to be getting on the field and seeing the minutes of their team. How cool is that for you to come in with a group of guys, commit with a group of guys, and to see everybody having success at a young age?
It's honestly great. I feed off my teammates' success. That makes me just want to go even harder for sure. Coming in with this class I came in with, at first I think we all really clicked really fast. Got good chemistry really fast. I think we all was just really hungry. I think we all had a lot of proof, like you said. We each was probably the big dog in high school, coming from our selective high schools. So we always wanted to come here and prove something to everybody else and ourselves.
Absolutely, and you guys have done that. When you look at, for example, Brady Hensley has this breakout game last week. And I know you both are from the Kentucky area. Did you know Brady before coming to EKU?
I did. No, this is really going to be a flashback right here. But in middle school, we went head to head. He played at Cottle Middle School, and I was at Taylor County. So, we met there in the state tournament a few times in middle school. So, we for sure had like connections, like seeing each other at camps and everything. So
Wow.
it was really cool. And we was roommates when we first got here. So, with
Oh,
us,
were you?
yes, sir. So when we're seeing us where we are at now and like having the success we are, it's really great to see.
It's really cool, and that's one of the things I wanted to ask you. Being from Kentucky, obviously, there's a lot of EKU spread out throughout the state, and you know the roots with EKU football. I mean, once you play there, once you coach there, you're part of the One Fleet Club. Once you're a trainer there, and everyone is really passionate. All the alumni are. So when you were making that decision out of high school and being from Kentucky, did that give you that extra edge to go to EKU, or how did you kind of stumble upon that decision? Did you have any connections to EKU before?
For sure. EKU, they got on me in high school very early. It started like my sophomore year. That's when they offered me. So it was just really with EKU just staying consistent, showing love, and also just knowing I'm a hometown kid, home state kid. You know what I'm saying? So really, at the end of the day, it really meant a lot to me to like just to know my family's going to be there for every home game to watch. It's not a far drive for them. So that was really important for me. And also, my brother being offered at the same time as me, and he's also here right now as a freshman. So I feel like that's a once in a lifetime opportunity you really can't pass up. And I'm just really blessed to be where I'm at right now.
It's so neat. One thing I'll say too is just like where your family's close, it's a game changer, and it really isn't a decision just because you get to be so fortunate to see them almost every weekend,
Most definitely.
and they get to support you. But that's another thing I wanted to ask you about. Your brother's on the team this year. How unique is that experience? So you said he was offered at the same time, but how did his recruitment come about? Was that something you all talked about? And what's it like now having him on the team?
All 4 of my years in high school, we played together. He was right by my side. And his 4th year, senior year after I got here, he ended up transferring to Frederick Douglass. So really, he got a couple of other schools looked at him from there. But at the same time, I was in his ear, you know, so you know how that goes. And really, just at the same time, I just kind of put to him straight for, this would be the great place for him, the best place for him to start his career, most definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's such a unique, just a unique opportunity. The McGlure brothers, which I know you didn't get to play with, you actually played against them this year at West Georgia.
West Georgia, yes, sir.
But they were 2 brothers on the team, and it's just so cool because you have that bond within the locker room. But there's nothing quite like having your actual brother there in the locker room.
Yes, sir.
So that's pretty neat. So I found one funny thing. Obviously, I'm doing a little bit of homework. I obviously know you personally. I know everybody personally that I have on this. But I'm like, all right, let's just look a little bit more and see if there's any fun little things in your bio on the roster. And one thing pops up, and it says, outside of football, Kaden enjoys. And the first thing is lifting. And, I laugh because no one ever really said that about me. But it seems to be a common thing with linebackers. So now I want to shift to the defense that we have this year in the linebacker room that you've been a part of. That lifting mentality, that meathead mentality, as I like to say, what comes with being a linebacker, and it really does take a rare breed. But tell me, what's a linebacker to you? What comes with that position?
At the linebacker position, I think it's just natural leadership. I see it as a quarterback of the defense. You gotta, you get the play call from the sideline, make sure everybody's lined up the way, and also at the same time, you gotta have a couple screws loose. You know what I'm saying? And, feel them. You gotta work sideline to sideline, feel the A gap, C gap. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, it takes a lot, but I feel like I love it. I love what I do. I feel like the whole defense, the biggest thing we've been sharing is just do your job. The most important job is your job. So
That's awesome. Did you ever play an offensive position, growing up? Did you play offense, or did you always know you were going to get recruited for defense, or how did that kind of go?
almost definitely, throughout middle school, high school, my whole life really, I've been a two-way player. In high school, I played running back, linebacker, defensive end. Really anywhere. I was just really just an athlete, just whatever it takes to win. That was me. But yeah, I found out really early in my recruitment around my freshman year. As soon as I got into high school, I knew for sure, like, just based off my size, I was for sure going to be a linebacker, defensive player for sure.
If you could switch over one of the linebackers right now to put him as a fullback, who would it be?
I think we all know the answer to that, and that is Braden Sullivan. Man, I don't think anybody would like to go head on head with him, right in the
No.
pay gap exactly. So
No, yeah, and so that's an example of who I think of when I think of, meathead linebackers. You, Braden Sullivan, you got Kyle Kelly last year, just guys that are just not afraid to put their head in there. And like you said, you have to have a lot of screws, or not a lot. You have to have a few screws loose.
yes, sir.
But moving on from that, the defense has been the Maroon Doom defense has been the talk of the team for the past 2 years, and you kind of came in as a part of that new culture, which we really didn't have that much. It was a lot different before you got in. What would you say kind of attributes to the success that you all are having on the field? And what have you guys done well in this first part of the season that you really love?
First off, I just want to say, just going back to last year's defense, I feel like for me coming in, they like really set the standard just for me as a true freshman, like really what the standard here is at EKU and what like really what it is and throughout the unit of the defense. And like coming into this year, I think for me, I think I really knew like what to expect and like what we need to do to get out of this out of the defense. So I think all of us, just relying on our core values, 4 to 6, A to B, all of that. So and just trusting each other. That's the biggest thing. We can't do it by ourselves. It's got to be together.
Absolutely. And man, like I said, obviously I was there the 5 years before this season, and the defense has come a long way in culture and what you're talking about. And Coach Johnson's done an awesome job, and we're bringing guys in like you who come in, they know how to take things seriously, they approach it. I think a lot of it comes, with that culture, like you said, is people that are willing to train people and help bring people up with them. And two, is getting guys that are mature coming in that are ready to execute. And you guys have done a great job. When you look at the first part of the season and you reflect, because it's a bye week, right? So you're looking to work on different things. And you look at the first part of the season, what are you most proud of out of this defense right now?
Really, I can say, we have a lot of transfers. If you look at the defensive roster, we have a lot of new guys, stepping on, playing a bigger role. So I think us, we didn't know, we knew, we have high expectations for ourselves. But I think the biggest thing I'm most proud of is just how we've been playing together, just playing each snap by itself and not remembering, like, just flushing everything else behind, you know what I'm saying, and just snapping clear every play. And I think that's going to take us a long way throughout this next stretch of conference that we have.
Absolutely. Now, that's my next question. You guys are in a loaded conference, and certainly you know the coach talk and everything like that. You look one game ahead, right? But you do know what's coming down the pipe. And when you're sitting there in a bye week like this, what kind of thoughts are you having? First, when you look at the first part of the season, what are you looking to improve on? What's kind of been the message this week? Is it consistency, or is there a certain thing that you guys are looking to sharpen up?
There's a lot of little things as details. I say details for sure, just enhancing on details. Mistakes at the end of the day, like the conference we're in is one of the toughest for sure in FCS, and really that's what you ask for. You ask to play the toughest games each year, and really with us, I think that's what's really going to help us. Leading on the rest of the season to get to the playoffs and compete for a national championship like we want to. Is just enhancing on the details. Not playing perfect, but just making sure we play close to perfect.
Absolutely. I mean, that perfect's the goal. You're never going to hit it. But that's and that's something, like you said, if you're going to be in a conference, you might as well be in the best. And I think
Most definitely.
UAC is one of the best, if not the best conference in FCS play. When you kind of look, then just, the bye week is structured. You're going to get to rest your body, obviously, because you're taking a lot of hits and different stuff like that. Kind of walk everyone through like what your normal bye week looks like this week, how that recovery goes, and what you do in this week before you go back to game prep next week.
All this week, I know they've really been a big emphasis on, just making sure we're healthy going into the next week and the rest of the season, really. But really this week, we really haven't really, like, lit up. Like, at practice, everybody's came in, head down. We still got to get better and work on the things, that hurt us the past 5 games, you know what I'm saying? So that's really been the biggest thing.
Right. Yeah, it's a huge mental week, and you guys have definitely earned it. The defense has been incredible. When you look back to last game with Nicholls State, obviously you get a pick six. Talk to me through that play and what you saw in that play that made that happen.
Really, that was coming, I think it was somewhat early in the third quarter. There was a tie game, second and long, and actually their first drive, I think it was third play of the game. Actually, they ran a screen pass, so they actually broke it long for a touchdown. So we know they was going to keep coming back to that. And really, in my mindset, I just knew it was second and long, just knowing the down and distance and what situation we're in. And really, when I seen the running back slow play out, and then he kind of tripped and stumbled, and I seen the ball, his right place, right time, just making a play.
That's incredible, and it was a huge play in a time where we needed a lot of momentum right
Most
there. I go back to you and Brady Hensley, the two second-year players, providing a lot of sparks and momentum on the team. When you look at that game against Nichols, and you talk about identifying plays and play recognition, how important during a week of prep is film, and what are you looking for as a linebacker on the defense?
I think Coach Johnson, the whole coaching staff does a great job. That's the emphasis for us, like the details, like watching film, taking care of our body, stuff like that. Just knowing our opponent as well as like we know ourselves. That's just really gonna make us help play faster. Just really know what to expect coming to Saturday.
Absolutely, and so now, like I said, through the end of the season, the emphasis right now you say are details. If you look forward, have you guys started any game prep on your next game yet?
We have not, but we will start. Like we've started watching film and everything, but we haven't started with scouts and all that.
I got you. Yeah, that's awesome. So, is there anything early on that's you guys? I know you guys haven't done previews or anything like that, but is there anything early on, or is it more so just focused on yourself this week versus kind of formulating a game plan yet for them?
This week more of the practice has been, good on good, just going against each other. Really just iron sharpens iron at the end of the day. So really, this week, that's all we wanted to get through. Is just make sure we all just got better at the end of the day and just really enhance on the details.
That's awesome. Kaden, you've had an incredible first part of the season. I'm sure you're going to continue it. Let me go to individual player now. When you look at yourself, what do you want to improve on, if anything, if it's just consistency, but for this back half of the year?
I feel like I'm my biggest critique at times, but for sure I gotta get better on a lot of things. Like I think my biggest one is just being a leader. Even though I'm a young guy, I just gotta know like I'm on the field. I have the respect of everyone around me, and I think just really just keep doing what I've been doing, but keep progressing each week, and helping everybody around me keep getting better also.
Well, I think you have been progressing each week, obviously. I mean, I wanted to have you on the show after Marshall. I thought you had an incredible game against Marshall. You turn around and you get a pick six. So,
Yes,
like I said, and I've said it many times, but to be a young guy, to come in here and to dominate the way that you're doing is pretty special. So, with that said, I mean, just good luck the rest of the year. I really appreciate you giving me the
I
time to get
appreciate
some
you for having
insight.
me on.
Yeah, for a linebacker and everything like that. And I just wish you the best of luck and go enjoy your bye weekend. You deserve it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you a lot.
Awesome. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. See you, Duff.
That was the reigning UAC Defensive Player of the Week, Kaden Smith. I love getting an insight to a linebacker and to their mentality. Like he said, there's always a few screws loose, but man, they deliver some great hits and some great moments on the field, as you saw on Saturday. Now I'm excited to get to talk to two of my kind, some specialists. I'm going to bring on the short snapper on the field goal unit and good friend of mine, Quaid Luginbill, and the big leg kicker, Buzz Flabiano, transfer first year kicker here at EKU. All right, bear with me. All right, I got to get better with my camera here right now. We are live, by the way, so I just want to let you guys know that. But man, Quaid and Buzz, thank you for joining me. I wish I could figure out how to split your guys' screen up a little bit better here, but we're gonna ride with it. So first thing, obviously, I talked to Quaid a lot ahead of time and talked about getting you guys on the show because you guys are having an awesome season so far. And Quaid said that you guys were going to hop on and do it together. Talk about kind of the snapper and kicker bond, because obviously I understand that, but just tell everyone, what that bond is like and kind of what your day-to-day has to be like in order to make the unit run.
Buzz, you go ahead.
I mean, yeah, it's like any sort of position do. I would compare it to like a center and a quarterback. Like we're around each other a lot, so we always build that connection like right off the bat. And it kind of has to be a healthy relationship because the whole kind of operation relies on all parts. So showing up in May, I feel like we connected pretty fast.
Right, right. And so, Quaid, I'll give you the floor on this one. Talk to the average person that watches football and they don't quite understand. Talk to us through the details of the field goal operation, because there's a lot more timing and differences that go into it.
The field goal operation. What do we shoot for? A 1-2-5, Buzz? 1-2-5.
1-2-5. Yeah, that's
we shoot for a 1-2-5. So Coach Day always says it's 33, 33, 34. Is that what he says?
Mm-hmm.
About what it is, about the snap, hold, and kick. So we always try to shoot for a 1-2-5 on our field goal operations. Recently, we've actually done a great job. We're averaging a 1-1-5 in the past couple games.
Wow.
So that's just really all that really goes into the field goal. Is just we really got to get our op times down, and Coach Day always stresses it. Every time we have field goal unit, he has the op times up there telling us how good our ops are and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think the average person quite understands how quick 1.2 seconds goes.
Oh, yeah.
But, as Quaid snaps the ball, Buzz, you're already moving. So you need that ball to be placed there, because, you're putting full faith in your whole operation in front of you. And obviously we're missing Mr. Franchise, a keep role to the operation there. Jacob Baker, the holder. Buzz, I kind of want to hear your perspective. Kickers definitely appreciate holders and how difficult that job is. And I'm sure you've had to get down and hold your fair share at camps and different things. How hard is that and underappreciated is that role?
It's so hard. Just because when we do it in practice, we're not going like if I'm holding out hold for Quaid just to get his snap downs in. But I couldn't imagine having to hold for an actual live operation, because like you said, that 1-2-5 is coming fast. So you got to get it down, and I trust Baker 100%. I know he gets it down. So, but it is very hard. Just having to catch the ball and know where the laces are, and if the snap's high or low, just being able to put it down in the correct spot.
Absolutely. And I think it's almost more underappreciated than a long snapper is, because obviously snappers, they're not going to hear anything whether it's bad, but holders really don't hear anything unless it's bad. Mm-hmm. And so, Quaid, kind of talk to me about your perspective of a holder. I know we kind of have talked about it before, but what do you look for in a holder, and how much easier do they make your job?
Obviously, they make my job a lot easier, especially if I'm not getting laces out on a snap. Baker's always there to just flip it real quick. And, during the spring, I had Cam Hergott as my holder, and now I have Baker. And they're both just so different in how they hold. Cam's stance compared to Baker's. Hey, you snap to Cam. Cam's stance. Yeah. He's upright. He's good. And Baker's more leaned back. And I had to get used to at first, but I really appreciate Baker. He's done a great job in the past couple games, just getting the ball where it needs to be. And I think me and Buzz both, we trust him. We just trust him a lot, and we trust our whole field goal operation. And coming back to what you said about the snapper-kicker relationship, I think the relationship that me, Buzz, and Baker have off the field also translate to how we are on the field. I think we just have that good chemistry, and we just get it done when it needs to be done.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's super crucial that, especially your specialists, when you have to spend so much time together off on your own during practice, I think it's incredibly imperative that you guys get along. And I think it's pretty obvious that you all do. And the field goal team is reaping the benefits of that, I'd say, because you guys are having a really good season so far. Buzz, I kind of want to talk about, obviously, you and Quaid have two different backgrounds. Buzz, you were already in college. You were at UTEP, and you transferred in. As you were going through that transfer process, actually, I want to back up first, because I just told Kaden this. Obviously, I know everybody, and I've heard of everybody, or I've talked to people. But I do my homework a little bit as I'm preparing for this show every week. And sometimes it has to do with stalking social media. And so sometimes it does go onto the Twitter and go look at some of the accomplishments. And Buzz, I saw a pretty cool video today as I was getting ready for this show, and it was you getting a scholarship. Yeah. You went to go kick. It looked like maybe a field goal to win. Mm-hmm. You went to go kick, and then you had at UTEP, they announced that you got a scholarship on the Jumbotron. Yeah. Not many people get that kind of announcement, and how just walk me through that. Did you know it was coming? How did that
Well,
feel when that happened?
No idea. So how was it UTEP? Like the field goal to win we do at practice here, we would do that as the whole like field goal period. So we'd bounce around spots and people would get up in my face and say stuff, spray me with water bottles, try to distract me. And this certain day we were keeping it like within 30 yards and he was just like, we're just doing chip shots. And in the video, it kind of looks like I see the screen and turn away, but right as I hit it, I kind of turned to the holder and I just, everyone was like screaming. I was just like, oh, what's going on? What I missed? And then someone like turned my head and I saw it, and it was like an unreal experience just being able to know that Coach Walden at UTEP trusted me. And it was a special moment.
I can't imagine. That'd be such a cool way to reveal it. And obviously, like the amount of hard work and unappreciated time that may go into getting that opportunity, because as a specialist, you're not gifted those scholarships. You have to earn every bit of them.
Absolutely.
And so it was a cool video. I had to bring it up. Very special moment, I'm sure. Yeah. But you decided to transfer out of UTEP. What made you settle on EKU? What was it through the process that sealed that decision?
It was just being in the portal from being in high school is a completely different experience just because I had game film, but it's still, you're just a gamble because you don't really know how a coach is or how kind of team morale is and the culture. But talking to Coach Day over the phone, I felt a genuine connection. So I trusted my gut and I committed over the phone. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you take a visit?
A few weeks after I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So after you committed, so big decision. I got you.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Quaid, I kind of want to go back to the same thing with you. Kind of walk me through. Obviously, you have all these blood ties to EKU, where your dad's one of the most notable alumni of the football program. Obviously, that gets brought up. But just when you went through your recruiting process, I know you had several other offers. What was that the sealing decision to come to EKU, or what kind of did that for you?
The whole thing with my dad coming to EKU actually had nothing to do with my decision. So I did have a couple PWOs in high school, and I had 3 scholarship offers from EKU, Gardner Webb, and Elam. And I was going on all my visits my senior year, just trying to like narrow it down. And I saved EKU for last for my last game day visit. And I always loved Coach Day. I loved the relationship Coach Day had with me. He called me more than any other coach that recruited me. He'd call me like once or twice a week, and we just have great conversations. And what I liked about him is when he called me, it wasn't always about football. Like he was calling me and asking like how the family is and like what I like to do for fun. So my last visit was an EKU home game, and it was the first time I ever been to an EKU home game, and I just absolutely loved it. Before the game, one of the recruiting people took me on like a tour of campus, tour of the facilities. Before the game, I met with Coach Wells before the game. It was a great visit, and I really just fell in love with it. And then I think I called Coach Day the next week and just told him I was ready to commit.
That's awesome. And so I got to bring it back too. Talk to me about, obviously you said that had nothing to do with it, but how special is it to play at your dad's alma mater, where he gets, he comes back every spring to it. And obviously I think he has a tattoo of EKU.
He does.
So obviously somewhere that he feels so deeply about it. So tell me, like, that's got to feel cool. What's that like?
Oh yeah, it's really cool, and it's just great how much like he cares about EKU football. Like he's just so invested in our team at all times. Every time we talk, he'll ask me about how this position group is doing, this position group is doing, how the coaches are doing, how's Coach Wells, how's Coach Day. So it's really just more, and it's just like not even just like EKU, just like Richmond in general. Like he just loves this area. He just loves bringing up memories from when he was in college, and it's really cool having that bloodline with him, and just how much he loves EKU, and it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Did he, obviously being a former football player himself, did you feel that was a huge benefit just in knowing what was coming when you walked in the door as a freshman in college, and kind of your journey? And I know also he played a big role in you becoming a long snapper. So how did that unfold?
It did play a big role because he kind of just like talk to me like what to expect in college football and just like how things work and just how busy the schedules are. I don't think anything could have prepared me for how busy the schedules actually are, but he would give me a little heads up, so I had a little bit of an idea. And yeah, he did have an influence on becoming a long snapper. He said if I wanted to play in college, that was my only bet because I wasn't going to be tall enough to do anything else.
Yeah, aren't we all? Well, Buzz, when you obviously now we get to you're here, you're having an incredible season. Was there something, in this off season, was there something specific that you were working on that because like I said, I mean, you seem to be money this year. Was there something specific you were working on? Was it just coming in as a transfer, or you just want to get used to the new place and camaraderie with the unit, or what kind of was your focus this off season?
Yeah, it's just being anywhere new, you gotta kind of get the feel and like the laydown of what to expect. Like Quaid said, expecting schedule wise and all that, and not every snapper and every holder and in any position is the same at every school. So just kind of fitting those puzzle pieces together was my main goal. Just trying to get solid, like cemented in the unit as fast as possible.
Well, and the transition has seemed seamless from the outside. As I said, you're having an incredible season. Talk about, you hit the bye week. And one thing that I know about kickers is people estimate how much wear and tear goes on your kicking leg, but also your plant foot and your ankle and all different kinds of stuff. And I know that you're kind of transitioned to being both of you kind of have like your specialized role, like you are the field goal kicker, Quaid, you are the field goal snapper. Is that a huge help in preserving your leg, and what's it kind of look like at the midway point of the season?
It does alleviate some of the wear and tear on my legs. I can say that just because being able to do kickoff or field goal and punt, if I was in a scenario where I was doing two of those, it would have a lot more wear and tear. But right now I'm just focusing on one, and this bye week has been important to have a good kind of recovery week, but also staying in a routine so I don't lose where I was in the past weeks.
Absolutely. And routine is so important as a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know if you have any kind of specific, I want to say ritual. Is there anything specific you do when you go out there on the sideline or anything, or do you just go out and kick the ball?
Not any superstition thing, but whenever we're in field goal range, I like to stay back because everyone will be down where the ball is. But I like to say a good 20 to 25 yards away, just so I can visualize what I'm doing. So when I run on the field, I won't run directly at the ball, kind of a banana it, just trying to get a feel of the wind, kind of where I'm aiming. So as I'm running out, I pick an aiming spot so I don't have to rush and find an aiming spot when I'm taking my steps. So I think that's kind of my kind of routine that I do in games.
I don't know a single kicker that doesn't have some kind of thing that they like to do. And something like that, I think it's incredibly important, to be honest. I know I probably borderline too much superstition, Quaid. But Quaid, do you have any newfound rituals or anything specific you're going to do pre-snap, or you just go out there and wing?
First of all, superstition, I wear the same socks every game. They get washed, but I do wear the same socks every game. I started that at Louisville.
Okay.
And then when we're in field goal range, I always get 3 snaps on the sideline, and then I'm done until we go out there for a field goal. Yeah, that's it. Every time I'd have to get 3. 3 has to be the number. If one of them's bad, then it's maybe 4. But that'd be 3 good snaps before.
Yep.
Oh wait, I don't snap nearly as much as you did back in the day, but I'm up there in numbers.
Okay, so I think that that's really important because as a specialist in general, you hear it all the time with Matt Overton, but you have to stay ready because your number could be called on at any time. You guys have had, Kaden Smith gets a pick 6, and you guys have to get up off the bench, grab your helmet, and go run out there.
Oh yeah,
I was not prepared for that.
Mm-mm.
Yes,
and Vito's pick 6 at Louisville, I was not prepared.
Honestly, you had a sudden change in your first game, which is kind of tough. I remember my first sudden change, and Wells was not thrilled with me coming off of the field after that one. But when I guess talk to me about those sudden changes. Is there anything? Do you guys ever snap, or do you ever do a leg swing, or what do you do, Buzz, when you just run on out there? Do
Yeah,
you?
just a leg swing and just kind of like
Yeah.
just go it like because you never know whenever your number is getting called. So just kind of staying loose on the sidelines and a leg swing, like you mentioned, it does kind of like all right, here we go, like because I don't have time if we get a pick six to go like jog over the net, hit a couple, and then run on the field. It's like snap, we got to go.
Absolutely. When you do you ever have to fight over the net with Baker?
We kind of like I said, I've kind of like puzzle piece my way in whenever we're on offense and we're kind of in our own area. Baker will get the net for a little bit until it gets to around second down, and then he'll go over to the launch pad, and I'll get the net to myself for a little bit.
Nice. You guys have a good little game plan.
Yeah.
You know, Baker kicking the net was a little foreign to me because my punter and roommate beforehand, I don't think he didn't believe in kicking the net.
Oh, yeah.
And at first, not being used to that ritual, when we walked out there on the field, I was terrified because I'm like, this guy hasn't swung his leg for a quarter and a half. But it worked out for him, and he ended up getting to go to the CFL. But I kind of want to talk about one more thing here, too. When Buzz, you've been in this situation as I'm doing my homework, but going out for a game winner. First of all, hitting a game winner, I don't think there's any other feeling like that. But kind of walk me through that, and what's the mentality in those pressure moments? Because do you lean back on training like those field goal to wins? Do you think that helps you for it, or what are your kind of thoughts on pressure moments?
Absolutely. So just kind of what I try to do on every kick, I try to treat every kick the same. Either it's an extra point or sorry, my cat's up there freaking out. But
Good.
just trying to go into every kick like the same. Like I had a coach that told me every field goal should be an extra point. So having that mentality that every kick's the same, I don't have to do anything different, just focus and hone in on my techniques is a big game changer.
Absolutely. I think it's important, like we say. I think that's why rituals and stuff like that are important. You know, you have the same approach every time, and it makes every kick the same in some capacity. Quaid, kind of walk me through your feelings on field goal to wins at the end of practice, and kind of explain to the people who listen and don't know what field goal to win is, what it is for you as a snapper.
I don't know how Buzz feels about field goal to win, but I personally love field goal to win. I don't know why. I just love it, and pretty much all it is the field goal unit sets up, and I have my ball. Coach Day tells us where it is, and then the whole team surrounds us and is just yelling and just like heckling you and throwing. I think they throw water on Buzz sometimes, or they'll pull on his shoestrings, pull on his towel. Sometimes people slap my helmet, and I love field goal to win. I think it is awesome.
Yeah, it's a unique experience for sure. It'll definitely throw you off guard in your first time, I believe, but you definitely get used to it after a long time and learn to embrace it from my experience. Quaid, I talked about, obviously your dad and the relationship that you guys have with football and just how he was an EKU alum, and I'm sure he's the one that got you into football. How did you said that you transitioned over to long snap because he told you, but there was a crossroads, right? You played other positions at D-line and stuff like that. And what was your when did you start playing football? What was that upbringing like?
Well, I started playing football in 6th grade, and I was a center. That's how I got into long snapping, because in middle school, whoever the center is going to be the long snapper. Yep. But then my dad was like, well, hold up. We can probably go somewhere with this. You probably got a chance. So then he taught me how to long snap when I was 11, and then played center in 6th grade, and then from 7th grade through my sophomore year of high school, I played defensive line. And then going into my senior year, I talked to my parents, I talked to my high school head coach, and I was just like, I think I'm done playing D-line. I think I'm just done with it. I think I'm just going to transition to just being a straight snapper. And that was probably the easiest season of football I ever had, because we did special teams once a week in practice. And other than that, I just didn't do anything.
That's incredible. And it
was the greatest senior year of my life.
Did you guys win state?
Yeah, my senior year we did.
Yeah, and you won state. That's pretty cool, senior year. Buzz, you obviously are from Texas.
Mhm.
Talk about, because we have a lot of Texas conference opponents, and I've
Yeah.
gone down there and turned on a TV in a hotel room on a Friday night, and everything's high school football on actual TV.
Yeah.
It's incredible, nothing like it.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
it like being raised in Texas? Were you a soccer kid, or were you always football? And how'd you get into it?
So growing up, I was purely soccer, and the way my middle school was set up, sixth grade, it was just kind of like PE. That's what we did, and then once you got into like seventh and eighth grade, you had an option to do PE or football. So I tried out because all my other friends were trying out, and I started off as a backup center and a right tackle in middle school and the kicker. So it was kind of a weird combination, but football is so meaningful in Texas, whether it be high school, college, or anything younger. And just growing up like that, it means a lot to me. And I'm very blessed and humbled that I get to continue to do it where I'm at right now.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And and not only are you doing it, I've mentioned this several times. I'm gonna keep mentioning it because the specialists need to get some love. You guys are having a phenomenal season to this point. When you go through the bye week, obviously there's a little bit of rest. Like you said, you got to stay in your routine and stay consistent. Is there any one thing that you guys focus on, or is it all just consistency? And this is a question for both of you. If Buzz, if you want to start, and then we'll go to Quaid.
Yeah, just kind of my kicking routine, just because it's almost like a quarterback. If they don't throw for a while and they go out there and they start throwing passes, it's not going to be the same as what it was back. So just focusing on a few techniques to preserve my leg, but also keep that routine is important.
Absolutely. Quaid, what about you?
And just focused on resting and just, it's really, long snap is really hard on the hamstrings. Me and Buzz had an argument about this on Tuesday. That's why I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
It's a lot of strain on the legs. I argued that it's more strain than kicking. Not for real. I was joking.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
But, Buzz got a little upset at me for that one.
Yeah.
But no, I just focused on resting. And, during the bye week, we don't do as much full unit stuff. So don't have to snap as much. I still snap a little bit just to make sure I can still do it. But I really focus on resting.
Absolutely. It's something that you have to stay consistent with, and I'm sure you both sounds like you guys approach everything the right way. When you look to, I guess, the rest of the season, being a specialist, and especially as a long snapper, I think the end of the season goal for you is just 100% don't screw up. But and then you have your team goals. Buzz, are there any individual goals that you have coming into the year, or is it just your normal individual goals, or what are they?
Kind of individual goals, but more importantly, doing my job for the team and putting them in good positions is what I strive to do every week.
Absolutely. And that's what you should do, and that's the way you should approach it, Obviously everyone probably has a few individual goals, but I know that, you guys are doing exactly what you just said. You guys have been there for the team where the offense has hit some rough parts. You guys are the ones that are able to go out there and get points on the board, which is really huge. My last kind of question for you guys, you get the bye weekend, and I don't know if you have the whole weekend off this year. I know that you usually do that. It's an exciting time. What's kind of the plans for the bye weekend? Do you go home? Do you stay here? Do you watch football? What's kind of the plans?
You can go ahead, Buzz.
Oh, I'll go ahead. Okay. Kind of just relaxing, catching on some homework. I know Conference USA is starting their kind of midweek games for October, so it's going to be fun to watch that. And then, I think it's going to be nice to have a Saturday to watch football and kind of relax and not have to stress it all. So I'm taking advantage of that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the UAC games on this weekend, being able to actually watch them and not just look at the scores after our games.
Definitely. You definitely get to know a lot more, and I'll tell you that from experience this year.
You get to watch the Austin Peay's game.
Exactly, and that's a huge one. Like we said, UAC is really tough coming down the pike. I think I said that with Kaden, not you guys, but UAC is a really tough conference this year, and I've been fortunate enough now I get every Saturday free, so I watch every game. And so, but one thing that I have enjoyed watching is you guys, and like I said, you guys are out there, you're executing at a really high level. I'm sure you guys are going to keep it up for the rest of the season, and I really appreciate you guys giving me the time on Thursday night in a bye week to come talk to me.
Sure, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you guys soon. I'm going to remove you here. Thank you, and enjoy your weekend.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Awesome. Got to pull the double move off there and remove them both. But with that said, I'm going a shorter one this week because, like I said, we all deserve a bye week. But no, we don't have any game to preview this week. It feels weird. You want to watch the Colonels on a Saturday, but you don't get that opportunity. So you go ahead and, like I said, you make up whatever you need to do around the house, whether it's chores, whether it's cleaning, or whether it's reviewing your insurance needs with John Clark State Farm. You're not going to regret it. You can always count on Clark. But with that said, I'm looking forward to a big show next week. We got some guests already in the works. I think I can safely say we'll be joined by running back Brady Hensley and maybe a good former professional colonel that I will share with you later on next week. But with that said, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate my guests tonight, Kaden Smith, Quaid, Luginbill, Buzz Flabiano. I say it all the time with the guests that are on this show, but they really are having an incredible season, those three individuals. And obviously, when we look back at Nicholls State, a 20-point win's a 20-point win, and we're going to celebrate it. I'm sure the offense, it definitely had its ups and downs. But, Brady Hensley had an incredible game. The rushing attack was incredible. He had 140 yards, and Braden Latham had 88. So as long as you can keep that running game going and work through that passing game, hopefully they come out firing on all cylinders out of the bye week. And we have a great weekend at home against Austin Peay next weekend in a huge UAC game. And I hope to see everybody there. I will certainly be there. But like I said, once again, check out John Clark State Farm. You can always count on Clark. Thank you for tuning in, and everyone have a great bye weekend.